Hello again, my friends. Kyle McCue here with a helpful video on setting up and executing early marathon training. So I am now 2 weeks into my long 21-week build towards the Buffalo Marathon, and I thought it would be helpful to look back at my pre-block work along with my first 2 weeks of the training block so that maybe you can apply some aspects of what I'm doing to your training. So looking back at my training, I had 4 weeks building some strength and fitness before really getting into the true training block. And I think I've narrowed down on some key takeaways. First, I was running about 20 to 24 miles a week with a 2-hour run at the end of the week. I really can't stress how the longer workout is way more time than miles. If you're able to run for 30 to 45 minutes at an easy pace, then just try to do a 2-hour run/walk on the weekend. Don't worry about how far you get. And just to include a note on midweek mileage, I was only getting out twice a week for 4 to 5 miles at a time. I had some fun with pace at times, but was generally all about the miles and all about easy miles. Next, we gotta talk about lifting. I was lifting 1 to 2 times a week during this period. Your schedule may not allow for a ton of trips to the gym, but I know I need to get at least 1 lift weekly to see where I'm at and try to hit every muscle group pretty heavy each time. This means doing 3 to 4 sets per exercise, and at weights that result in a final set with 4 to 6 reps. The goal here is to go a bit heavy, but be safe, find a spotter if you need one, and don't worry runners, you aren't going to put on 100 pounds of muscle in 4 weeks, I promise. Bonus note, if you are planning to eventually be an early morning runner in your build, practice that now. Don't make that a big shock later when you're already adding miles on miles. That's only going to give you more of a reason to abandon your long-term goals. All right, let's transition to my last 2 weeks of running, which are within my actual training block plan. So one thing I'll mention now is that I hiked up my mileage a bit here, but that's because I know my body and have been running consistently for 5 to 6 years now. It's recommended to only make weekly mileage additions of 10% of your previous week. This is all to minimize risk of injury. Week 1 started with an easy 2 mile on Monday, 4 miles on Tuesday, 5 on Wednesday, Thursday 4, Friday 5, and a 12-mile long run on Saturday to get me 32 total miles. Now, all of these miles are easy pace, and at this point, that means zone 2 or conversational pace, no heavy breathing. Since I was making a jump from 24 miles to 32 for the week, I personally didn't want to add the stress of speed work. That'll come later. Also, you might have realized that I went from 3 runs a week to 6. That's a big change, and make sure to consider how that will impact your schedule. For me, it means a lot of early morning sleepy miles, which stinks, but marathon training is hard, and doing hard things is cool. All right, we're up to the week I just finished, which was the same running days, but I added 1 mile to Wednesday to make that a 6-miler, and I added 1 mile to the long run for a weekly total of 34. I still have 19 weeks of training, so having less than a 10% increase here is totally fine, and we will continue with this trend as we go. This week again did not feature any speed work, and that's just to get my body comfortable with the miles. Next week, we're going to be hitting the track for a classic 8x800 meter workout to test out a little leg turnover, so keep an eye out for that workout. Now, some things to consider before I let you go. Throughout all of this, I'll be lifting once a week, each time hitting a full body workout, some core, and 3 minutes on a stationary bike just for a little warm up. In addition, the more miles means increasing stress. So it's so important that you get as good sleep as possible, stretch, do some yoga, roll out your muscles, and eat a lot of good food. I know that's really hard in some cases. Personally, I just make sure that 50 to 60% roughly of my fuel comes from unprocessed plant-based whole foods. We make a ton of giant salads that I add beets, beans, sometimes tofu, and always a simple homemade dressing, but I also love me some ice cream and snacks. So just do your best to get the good stuff if you have a weakness for the not so good stuff like your boy. That is it from me. Hopefully you found some useful information in this video. If so, perhaps consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Keep an eye out for more uploads from me on marathon training. Stay safe out there, and see ya in the next video.